countryside, under the streets. Suck the marrow out of a bone. Inject me with chemotherapies. Suck the money out.
Hey, Lorraine.
Hi, how are you? Welcome, come on in.
This is such a great studio.
Well, that's where I live and where I work.
I bought you a coffee.
Thank you. My mother drank 10 cups of coffee a day, and nothing happened to her. She died at 92, right? So
I'm gonna keep going.
That's the last advice I'm ever giving out, right?
Land you up in Brazil.
I became digital in 1994 or 5.
And what was before the digital?
All the performances. All the performances were done in the pre-digital era, right, you know? I don't have anything on the walls because there's no space to put anything on the walls. So the only image that I have on my walls is this. And this is my mother and my aunts when they emigrated. I am working with the personal issues of my family, and those are so much defined by their experience as colonial West Indians, you know, this whole business of England as home. I entered the art world in the late 70s, early 80s, and that was still, I think, the tag end of an attitude among the Black intelligentsia that the most authentic intellectuals were those who could claim credibility from the street. I was coming from a rather different place. I'd been trained in a very elitist way, and I felt as I watched some artists who were very bourgeois claiming credibility from the street, that in fact, what they were doing was in some ways being complicit in their own invisibility.
Why do you think the art world is so slow when it comes to women of color?
We are the most extremely marginalized, okay? We are the most extremely marginalized. And so our voices are the voices that have been least heard.
What did we do wrong?
I don't know. We just were, you know, listen, race and gender inflect each other in the most curious of ways, right? You know, so that race is not, race, yes, most of us do prioritize race in terms of the order of discriminations, but we can't forget that, you know, gender is also another form of discrimination. So if you have two, then you are doubly marginalized, right? If you're both black and a woman, you're certainly at the bottom of the totem pole. And so our voices were not worthy of being heard.
Reading about you and reading your work and seeing your work, for me personally, has given me, even in a short space of time, a greater understanding of myself and my place in the art.
You know, one can't ask for anything more than that, really. Sometimes, like, I think that making art is a way of sharing yourself and saying to others, it's okay, it's okay. You know, it's a way of saying to others, you're not alone. I haven't been to this spot in over 40 years. 40 years I haven't been here. I think it's my most revolutionary piece. That the idea of showing a black woman becoming an artist in doubt and conflicted and all of that, that is in fact revolutionary, because I think that the images that we have of black women to work with are either that they are so downtrodden or they're so powerful. It's almost hard to relate to either end of that spectrum.
Is this starting to look familiar?
Yeah. This was the backdrop here. Somewhere in there was where they were sitting, the lovers. And yes, and over in there was, this is where the woman in white was.
How does it feel revisiting it now?
Oh, well, you know, it's not exactly as I remember it, so it's kind of like a dislocation of it. But I think I'll be thinking about it for quite a while. I'm not unusual in this. I think that everybody has parts of themselves that don't seem to fit together, and somehow or the other you have to make them fit together if you're going to become a whole person. You're either doing it consciously or unconsciously, but you're pasting yourself together somehow. I wanted to fight with the weapons that I had, and they were not the weapons of the street. They were the weapons of high culture, and I felt I could do it. I thought about this character that I was, and I realized that I was not alone, that there were young women like me all over the world, all over the world. And that this business of being overly educated, overly well brought up, etc., young black woman, young black man, then finding themselves completely made invisible, do you understand? That condition was shared, and that I could bring the understandings that I had gained from that position to bear on what I thought were the really rather ridiculous arguments for keeping us out, you know, all the arguments of quality. We need mirrors in order to see ourselves. If we're not mirrored, we can't. To our great envy, the young white artists could cobble themselves together out of so many different artists, and we had so few to choose from. I think it's been a very important moment just now that we are beginning to see happening, where it's not just one or two black artists, it's groups of black artists with many different perspectives, many different backgrounds, many different journeys. None of us are speaking for everyone. We're only speaking for our portion of reality, our own individual portion of reality. And it's all of these artist voices together that make up the full picture.
So thank you so much for everything. Past, present, and future.
Okay.